Welcome, everybody, to Talking Elite with the All Elite Zone podcast. I am your host, Lane. Hope you guys are having a great holiday season. This is our last episode for the new year, at least for Talking Elite wise. So, very exciting. We had a great year in AEW. And to cap it off, we are going to be talking today about our top five tag teams this year. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We decided that there will be no factions on this list. So no House of Black, unfortunately. The Elite, unfortunately, do not count, but the Bucks do. So it's going to be fun to see kind of how our lists will stack up. I'm curious if our number one is all the same because we were pretty close last week.
That's very interesting.
So
I'm really
it's going to be yeah. So it's gonna be curious to see how our lists are gonna shape up. So before we get started, let me introduce you to my panel. We have down below, we have everybody's favorite bearded wonder. We have Adam. Thanks for joining us tonight, Adam. Always a pleasure to have you.
Always happy to be here, Lane. Thank you for having this show.
Thank you. And then we have the founder of the All Elite Zone podcast, the producer, the GM. He is also the graphic man. We have Connor. Thanks for joining us, Connor.
That's great to be on.
So insert studio applause here.
Yeah.
All right. So it's going to be a fun episode. I'm excited. So let's sit back. Let's talk some Elite. So, Connor, who is your number 5 pick?
Adam, if you want, you can go first.
Oh, Adam.
Oh, okay. I guess it feels like
you're going first.
It feels like tradition but it feels like tradition. I'm talking.
Yeah. Okay.
I have
So we
to
gotta
go
keep
first.
Like
going.
That's
weird.
Adam. So who is your number 5 pick then?
Okay, so my number 5 actually is going to be kind of shocking to people, and kind of surprising to people, just because of the year they had. And I know they're probably not popular amongst a lot of people, but I'm going to go the Guns.
Ooh.
So storyline wise, just the pairing with their dad and then the breaking away from their dad and kind of doing their own thing now, and then just the publicity they get with Danhausen alone, the way that Danhausen gets the Ass Boys going, and they get a reaction from the crowd every time, and they've constantly just been shown on TV, whether it's been matches or I'm loving that they're through the whole feud with FTR, they've been in the crowd just during matches and just kind of interacting during matches, but they're shown on TV. So they're getting their TV time. And then obviously a few weeks ago when, what was it? Winter is Coming. Is that when they wrestled FTR?
Yeah. No, it was,
okay.
It was the Christmas special.
It was a Christmas special. I mean, beating FTR was a huge, huge upset in tag team talk, and it's shocking that the Guns did that, but in my opinion, I feel like AEW has something planned for the Guns next year in 2023, and I feel like they're the hot heat team right now, the heel team to kind of finally break away from that image of their dad and kind of do their own run right now as a team. Like I said, people aren't going to agree with my pick, but I'm telling you right now, there's something building with the Guns for next year. And whether they win tag team gold in ROH or AEW, I mean, it's going to be there just because they're rolling into 2023 on a good hot streak.
Yeah, it was hard because I almost put them at number 5 because it feels like they are that heel that you have to hate, that you want to hate. You want to see them get their asses slapped, no pun intended, but you want to see that. You want to see them get beat, and they've done a good job at getting that heat really well, especially after the FTR defeat, because that surprised me. And that really pissed off a lot of people. So hopefully they will hopefully they'll do something that will shape up their their career next year and step away from their dad's shadow, because it feels like they really are stepping up and making their own name for themselves.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, reading some comments, I know people hate the Guns and everything, but listen, they're doing their job. If you hate them and you're bashing them, they're doing their job as a heel tag team. they're making you hate them.
Very
And it's
fun, too.
working. It's a great work in professional wrestling.
Yes, they have their dad's
Yeah.
personality for sure.
Oh, for sure they do. Yeah, absolutely.
Colton
All
Gunn
right,
looks.
Connor.
I was gonna say that Colton Gunn looks like Billy. Like Austin looks nothing like Billy, but Colton.
No,
If you look
Colton
in
definitely
Especially
does.
older pictures.
yeah.
But yeah, my number 5 is the Young Bucks.
Ooh,
My
okay.
my next 3, the next 4 teams are. I don't know if people would put on the list, but the Young Bucks I got number 5. They had a very interesting year. A lot of injuries with Matt and Nick, but they kept going. It seemed like through all of it. Really enjoyed what was it? The Jurassic Express. The Jurassic Express
Red
Young Bucks.
Dragon.
Red Dragon,
Right?
yeah.
Red
Yeah,
Dragon.
you had the match at Revolution. That was a very good match. And I believe they had a tables match or something when the Young Bucks won, when they beat the Jurassic Express, I believe. That was a very good match.
Mhm.
They've done a lot of good matches this year. I think the peak of it was the Red Dragon stuff. I still wish we could have got that 6-man tag, but where's the
Same.
lie in that? No.
Yeah.
It's dang it, Bobby.
Yeah. But yeah, the Young Bucks had a very great year. They won the tag titles and the trios titles in the same year, and they might be reclaiming them this next year. So yeah, I got the Young Bucks at number 5.
Very good pick. And they're pretty much similar on my list. I'll get to them a little bit later. But my number 5 pick, even though they just had the best storyline breakup and then a rocky start to their actual feud.
Oh, yeah.
But number 5 for me is Swerve and Our Glory. You know, they
Yeah.
started out like you knew the direction was going to go, but they had a lot of good twists and turns. They had a lot of good matches as a team. I liked watching those two together. Like their dynamic it fits so well. You know, it was almost like seeing when you had Claudio and Sheamus or Jericho, you know. So when you had that go on, like it was like it reminded me of that. So to see, you know, the payoff at Final Battle, even though they did not, you know, even though they lost, it was such a good match. They were both really good at storytelling this year. You know, their match with, you know, Jurassic Express was great. They've had some of the best matches and feuds this year, and to see now what's going on, like, and see hopefully they'll fix the story because their tag team ended on such a good note and a good like flavor in my mouth. So Swerve and Our Glory, I think there has something special coming in mind for 2023 as single stars. So hopefully we'll have a good payoff because they made my top 5 list and they broke up. So so very interesting number for me.
No, and I totally agree, and I love it. Was just the most random pairing that they had with them when they both came into AEW and just pairing them together. But they work so well together as a team. Their dynamic in the ring as far as tag team moves together, like when he bounces off of Keith's chest and does, you know, high risk moves from up top, like that's just amazing, you know, or when he's holding him and he does his flip on the outside. I mean, that's just great tag team wrestling right there. So, but yeah, no, I'm excited to see where this feud goes in 2023.
Yeah, it was definitely a good year for tag team wrestling for sure.
Proud and Powerful, I would have put them on my list. I don't know if anyone else does, but I don't think they had a good year.
Unfortunately, Ethan. It was just for me. The reason why they didn't make it into my top 5 was because things kind of didn't go their way this year. You know, they weren't a team or tagging like throughout the whole year. So it kind of, like I said, that's why it kind of pushed them down a little bit. Where if they would have kept consistent throughout the year, they probably would be higher on my list. But unfortunately, they didn't crack my top 5. What about you guys?
No, they're not on my list.
They're not on my top 5, but I mean, they're in my top 10. But like you said, the inconsistencies just couldn't keep them in the top 5 for me.
It's kind of like, you know, injury, well, now Santana, and also booking a little bit of both. But yeah, that should have won the tag titles a long time ago.
Yeah.
And then you got all
That's
the
also kind of
individual
sad,
work
too.
by Ortiz too. So it's like,
Yeah,
you really
he led
couldn't.
the-
Yeah,
I
'cause it
hope.
feels like they
I really
they
hope.
could if they would have stuck together and kept being healthy. I bet they would have been champions this year because it felt like Jurassic Express took their spot in a way. If that makes sense.
Mhm.
Because it was like right
Yeah.
after they got hurt and the whole Jericho Inner Circle, stuff happened. So fortunately, sorry, Ethan, Pride and Powerful didn't make the top 5 this year. Hopefully next year they'll get back together. But unfortunately, it sounds like Santana and Ortiz are no longer friends, which almost reminds me of how Hawk and Animal were for the last few years of their lives. And hopefully they'll be able to say, hey, you know what, I'm sorry. We were travel the road together. Friends are gonna fight, even if we're not a team. Let's still be friends and let's keep that relationship going because you don't want to be your last day on Earth and have a regret that I could have made amends to my tag team partners. So hopefully they'll reconcile and come back because they were one of the best tag teams in any roster.
Like a lot of it's not even because of their personal issues; it's just because of the booking in AEW. That Santana doesn't want to stay because of the booking. He's tired of doing the same old thing with Jericho.
And I didn't know, but did Santana get his release, or is he still fighting that?
He is injured, so
Okay.
I think they're going to add time to his contract. So he'll have to come back when he's cleared. So
yeah. All right. So our number 4 pick. Who you want me to go first, or do you want to go first, Connor?
I went last, didn't I? Or did you?
I went last, so I don't care.
It'd be Adam's turn.
Adam, do you want to go again?
Well, no, like I'm just saying, like first was Adam, then me, then Wayne.
Yeah, we'll keep that rotation then. All right, Adam, who is your number 4 pick?
All right. Well, we just mentioned them in a talk about it, and my number 4 pick, even though they broke up as well, Jurassic Express.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So they're my number 4, just because it was just so sudden with them being placed in that tag team title, picture. They being paired together and then having Christian as their mentor for a little bit, kind of build the team a little bit. I actually, when they beat the Lucha Bros, I kind of actually was excited. Because I was like, cool, let's give Jungle Boy Jack Perry a little bit of a title because now he's got a title on his book because the kid's a worker, and whether it was going to be a tag title or an individual title, I think the kid deserved a title regardless of his in-ring work. So with Jungle Express, and then you get the crowd behind them doing the whole jungle arm throwing thing. Like you get behind them, and the pyro is awesome. Their entrance was awesome. And then obviously, the little breakup they had with, after losing the titles to the Young Bucks and Christian basically turning on Jungle Boy and, Luchasaurus flip-flopping for like a week and then finally being complete heel. But even they had a great payoff match at the Steel Cage at Full Gear, which I believe is one of the top 3 steel cage matches I've ever seen in my life in professional wrestling.
I agree.
The first one actually being I think it was it Hogan and Bundy at WrestleMania 2 or 3?
I want to say it was 2 because I think 3 was Sergeant Slaughter.
Yes, you're right. So it was, yeah. But obviously that was my favorite steel cage match as a kid.
But for that to be on that list,
yeah. It was one of the very first steel cage matches that was basically broadcasted, minus the Jimmy Snuka one. But this one was definitely probably one of the best steel cage matches because it had that story to it. But yeah, no, as a team, I loved Jungle Express. I loved even having Christian there as their guide, and basically as their mentor before the whole, breakup and everything like that. But they still had a good year minus their breakup in June. But other than that, they held the titles from, I think, what was it? February or March until like June.
Yeah. So they had a few months.
They had a good few month run with the tag titles. So, that's why they're number 4 on my list. So,
and that's one thing, like Jurassic Express, like that was something that did hurt when they broke up. But looking at Jack Perry now, where, he's really stepping up as a singles performer. So I'm excited to see what the kid can do. Luchasaurus still looks like a monster. So I'm curious to see how he's going to be booked because really they were booked consistently through the breakup. They had the main story it's so like I'm glad that you're in your top 5 because like that's that whole story, and I'm glad that we each have. It's interesting. We both each have a broken up tag team on our list, so I think that just says a lot about AEW's booking, that they actually put a lot of time and thought into how a breakup happens. It's not just like a random I'm gonna turn on you, or it makes sense with the storytelling. Plus Tarzan Boy is still one of the best entrance songs. Like I listen to it probably about at least twice a week.
It gets the crowd into it. I mean, the whole crowd. You watch the crowd, and they're all waving their hands and singing the like they're behind it. And I feel like that's the same thing I talk about the Guns. Like the Guns are doing their job getting the crowd to hate them. Jungle Express was getting the crowd to love them, to go with their arms, and
they were getting
I think it worked.
interaction.
I mean,
where
they were getting that, and it was
bumps.
organic, and it was a organic reaction too. Nobody was like, "You got to like these guys." No, it was organic. Everybody was getting into it. They loved it, and like I said, Jack Perry, I agree. I like to see where he's going. I noticed they're putting him up with a possibly new tag team with Hook, but I don't see that lasting too long. I think it's just going to be a short-term thing with the firm, and then once that's passed, I think Jack Perry goes on to be his own individual star.
Which they need to, because both Hook and Jungle Boy are probably two of the top rising stars in that company. They're still both, really they're, early 20s. So hopefully something will come of it, and hopefully I would love to see Hook and Jungle Boy. I bet there'll be at least some kind of pay-per-view match down the road, or a special like Fyter Fest, Battle of Belts 20. Depending on how they do it, but I think we're going to see some kind of payoff between the two, and plus Big Bill, like Big Bill / W Morrissey, just that interaction with Jungle Boy and then with Hook. It's like I said, it's gonna be fun to see. I know we're getting a little off topic here, but I've liked that story, and I'm glad that they're keeping Jungle Boy like mainly on the card. He's mainly on the show, at least twice a month, so he's staying consistent. He's very, with his booking. So glad that, glad that Jurassic Express made your list, because Jungle Boy was one of my favorites this year as a tag team wrestler and an independent star. So, all right.
Jungle Boy. No, I totally agree, Dallas. I don't want him in another tag team. I want to see him going as an own individual run and possibly win a title, whether it's Ring of Honor or in AEW.
Yeah. The kid's a standout talent on his own. He doesn't need to have like a monster or a Hook or anything like that. So I think, like I said, Hook, it's me. Jungle Hook's going to be a short-term team. Kind of like Wardjoe was. I think it's going to lead to a better story, so I'm excited.
Yeah,
I think Jurassic Express will reunite one day with Marco Stunt, I believe. One day, you're going to all three win the trio.
I think so too. Yeah,
that'd be cool.
That'd be really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Connor. Who do you got?
My number 4 team is the Acclaimed. They had Max Caster for sure. I believe they had off and on injuries. Like Max Caster was injured one time, then Anthony Bowens was injured at one time. They both had injuries, but then they were able to keep it consistent. They had a really overlong feud with the Guns, but it did have a good payoff in the end because they got to go for the tag titles. They beat Broken Heart Glory. Like that was 3 matches. It was the first one at All Out, and the second was at Dynamite Grand Slam. The third one was at Full Gear. All 3 matches were great. I attended 2 of them, and all 3 of them were great with the Acclaim. And Max Caster's promos, definitely something like, besides John Cena, like he's really made it in this modern era something of his. And they're both good wrestlers inside the ring, especially Max Caster. He has the old-fashioned, Randy Savage elbow drop.
Yeah, the mic drop.
Like Anthony Bowens is actually very good too. Like they're both actually very good in the ring. Besides their, like some wrestlers, like all they can do is talk, or they can just wrestle. They can't talk. They got it both. I think they Acclaimed. They're gonna close out the year as champions, obviously, because we only got 2 or 3 days in this year. But they put a lot of good matches on. What was it? It was on Rampage. It was The Acclaim, Private Party, and Butcher and Blade. That was a very good match. Yeah, I'm looking forward to see who they go against next. It looks like it's going to be Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. He kind of buried Jeff Jarrett last night on Dynamite, from what I've seen.
That was great.
That was great.
Like
It's so bad that Jeff Jarrett's wife, Karen Jarrett, even commented on it on social media.
And Kurt Angle, did you see that? Because he was so mad about that. But like, well, you guys are the ones that decided to do this story, you know. So technically, like, it's fair game. It wasn't like he was calling her but
a hussy.
Yeah, it's fair game. It was. I thought it was hilarious. So
I did too.
Max Caster is like, he's a good controversial, like, at least he has parameters of what he can and cannot say. But when he said that line, like, I've gone back and I've watched it a couple times today, and I'm like, I've popped every time I've heard that line. Like,
so I'm telling you right now, even when they were a heel team, like, I loved them. Like, I was just like, I can't hate these guys. Like, they're entertaining. Like, I don't care if they're supposed to be a heel tag team at this point, but I just liked them. And I was fortunate enough, Connor was there too when they came to Nashville, and they were dropping all the bombs on Nashville, and I was like, this is great. And my friends who are from Tennessee look at me and they go, get out. Because they're like, you're supposed to hate them. I'm like, no, these lines are great. Like, they trashed the Titans. Like, it was hilarious. I was like, oh, good Lord.
Yeah.
So
they have that, like I said, it's just like we were talking with the Guns. Like, they were another team that got over naturally. And when they started doing the Acclaim symbol, and when Anthony Bowen, some random fan, or I think it was Max Caster, started doing the scissoring. I think he did it once, and next thing you know, fans constantly are asking for that scissor. Like, it was supposed to be like a rib. It was supposed to be a rib on it's supposed to be a rib, but no. I just thought, like I said, it was perfect, because now everybody wants to scissor with the Acclaimed. There's foam fingers. Like, they really, like, AEW has done a good job on capitalizing on that team. And spoilers, they are on my list a little bit higher up, so I will go in more detail when it comes for my turn for that. So yeah, the Acclaim definitely, like, so they've probably one of the most organic teams on the roster right now.
Yeah, so, absolutely, I agree.
So
I think you're up,
Lane. Yeah, so I'm gonna go, and then we'll do a little bit filler while we wait for Connor to get back on, because his internet's acting up. So yeah, my number 4 is the Young Bucks.
Okay.
And the reason why they were a little bit lower on my list this year than in years past was because they had a lot more trios and more faction work this year. But they were also, like I said, booked consistently. They had, the feud that was supposed to be building with, with Red Dragon before Bobby Fish decided to leave. Like, and then you had everything happen with, the tag teams, like, where they were going against, Swerve and Our Glory, Jurassic Express. They were really doing a good job about, like I said, staying consistent. And one thing, like I said, I always disagreed with people on this, because I think the Young Bucks are one of the best selling teams on any company. Like, yes, they are very choreographed, but when the time comes when they need to sell, especially with Matt and Nick Jackson both now doing the whole back spot where they say their back is hurt. So I thought they did a really good job this year, like, being as a tag team in a unit. They were the ones that, like, they were kind of also, like, separate, but they were doing their own thing. Like I said, this is also putting everything that happened, just letting you guys know in the comments section. This is putting aside stuff that's happened with CM Punk and all that mess. But I thought the Bucks did a great job this year. I thought they could do better. Their match at Forbidden Door was great. They had some really good, tag team trios, singles matches. Like, they were doing it all this year. So that's why they are my number 4 pick.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more on that. Having them in the top 5. Yeah, like you said, I mean, they have been doing a lot more trios, but I mean, for the better half of the year, they had that tag team dynamic, and they've had it throughout the indies as well. And people complain about their spot fest kind of stuff, super kicks like that, but it's what they're known for. People are like, I gotta turn my TV off when the Young Bucks come on. Why? Their matches are entertaining, whether it's tag team, trios, and hell, even some individual matches. I know for the time being, like when they were leading up to that triple threat match between Red Dragon, Young Bucks, and Jungle Express, a lot of them had some of them had 3-way dances. I think it was Matt Jackson that had the 3-way dance with Jungle Boy and with Bobby Fish, or not Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly. It was those three in the ring, and it was probably one of the best triple threat match I've ever seen. Literally one of the best 3-way dances. Every single one of them put on a great show, and Matt shows that he can work individually too. So it's also the fact that the Young Bucks as individuals can put on good matches as well. It doesn't have to be a tag team, but when you put them together, it's way beyond 100% better when they're in a tag team.
Yeah.
So
they're the ones that you can't really break up. Like they can't be like their own individual stars. Like I can't see Matt without Nick.
They did go against each other one time on BTE. Matt Jackson
but that's
and Nick Jackson. They went around the house. Someone got run over by a golf cart. They went all over the house. I think that was during the pandemic too. It was very entertaining.
Yeah.
Watching.
Besides from that, like you don't want to separate them because that's why they left Impact Wrestling for that short stuff. Was they wanted to do what they did with Jeff and Matt, and I'm glad that they stuck to their guns because for Matt and Jeff it's kind of worked, but they've always relied more on Jeff. They've always relied more on Jeff. Matt was always either creative mind, but they were always more focused on Jeff getting the title reign. It really wasn't until really Impact when they started being their own things where Matt actually got more popular than Jeff at one point because of Broken Matt Hardy. So like I said,
wasn't like 2014 when they both because Jeff was more in TNA, but then in 2014, 2015 Matt went over together, and then he got a world title thing with EC3 and like I said, so hopefully maybe next year, if legal things go right, hopefully the Hardys will be on our list because they didn't make it this year. The next cast is King of the Steel. I disagree. Like, where did this duck get in? I'm confused. Like,
I am very
I don't know.
And even Ethan asked a duck.
I don't know what that was.
So I guess this is a perfect segue then. Since we're moving into number 3, because crazy enough, the Young Bucks are my number 3.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I was very entertained. I don't find them stale at all. I enjoyed their tag team work when they were in Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. That's where I discovered them, was Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, of where they were back when they were wrestling. And it was their matches against Candice LeRae and I can't remember the other guy's name. Guy with the No, it was a different guy. He's very big in trouble right now. I keep forgetting his name. They were called the World's Cutest Couple or World's Cutest Tag Team. But I keep forgetting his name. Hold on. I'm going to do a quick Google search because Google is our friend. Remember that, people. Google is our friend. Here we go. The World's Cutest
I guess go my tag. I will agree. Max
it's
Joey Ryan. Thank you.
Oh yeah.
So and he's in trouble. It's a name that you kind of don't say in the wrestling community, but I had to for this segment.
I never really thought much of him. Really,
I didn't either. His shtick was just being gross.
It was
entertaining with the lollipop and the fur, but like him and Candice LeRae versus the Young Bucks, you have to watch the match where Young Bucks defended their PWG tag titles against them in like a no DQ match. And because the Young Bucks are known for their super kicks, they put on wrestling boots that had thumbtacks on the bottom super kicked Candice LeRae in the head, busted her head wide open. Now, with that's when I was like, holy cow, who are this tag team? And it was the Young Bucks. So I followed them there. And this year, even though like they did do a lot of trios matches, for the most of the year, they did tag matches. And like I said, and Connor, you mentioned it earlier, the best tag match I've seen, and I've actually seen in my life, was that triple threat at Revolution between the Young Bucks, Red Dragon, and Jungle Express. And I stand by that. That's the best triple threat tag match I've seen in a long time, since probably the second tables, ladders, and chair matches with the Dudleys, Edge and Christian, and the Hardys.
Yeah.
Obviously, those two matches, the first TLC match with those teams, and then the second one, are obviously my top two. But honestly, that one moved to third because just everything, like the Young Bucks, you can call them stuntmen. I see a lot of people call them stuntman, which a lot of people say they got a spot fest. But guess what? Those spots make people stand in the crowd. I mean, when you get, and we talk about how you get a reaction from a crowd, the Young Bucks are doing that, whether they're liked or hated. I mean, heck, we'll talk about the debacle. I mean, when they came back at Full Gear, what was that crowd chanting? You know, like they get that. Man. It was mixed, but for the loudest time, you could hear what they were chanting originally.
Yeah.
So you know the Bucks have that support. You know, but you know, again, it's entertainment. I hate to say that, but it's also entertaining wrestling, and the Young Bucks can do that. And honestly, we've been seeing it in this best of 7 series as a trios match, that the Young Bucks are, you know, even with Omega with them, the Young Bucks are still putting on those spots that keep people entertained.
Well, and at wrestling, one thing that I think people forget about wrestling is that there's so many different styles with it. You can have the grapplers like Claudio. You can have the high flyers like Dante Martin or the Young Bucks. You know, there's so many types of wrestling out there that, you know, that I think that's what people forget is it's like almost like a buffet. So it's almost like, think about it, Undertaker had the choke slam, had a few moves that he has to hit every time. You know, look at the Usos. People really talk highly of the Usos, and they do the same thing as the Bucks do, except for they just do it a little bit at a slower pace. You know?
I think what really separates the Young Bucks, like they'll like the main ones that like they'll do they'll get super kicked and they'll get up in like 2 seconds and they'll do another super kick and then they don't. I guess the selling to some degree, I can see, because like when you get hit with kind of like last night with the Wardlow, like if you get hit with the pipe on your knee, you are not going to be doing a move off the top rope and
moonsault.
You're not going to be doing that. Your knee is going to be out of it. But
there's times where they do sell really well, though. That's the thing. It's like
the Young
there's
Bucks,
times where they do a good job sell.
They're just.
I mean, look at the selling of the ankle with the hammer, and that they targeted that ankle during that trios match.
Yeah,
I mean, and he was selling it afterwards. Like he was selling it afterwards. They had him help him to the back. He was selling it still.
I think the Young Bucks are a very different tag team that maybe like old school fans aren't used to, but we're not in 1999 anymore. Like things have progressed. We're not doing was it King Kong Bundy and Andre? We're not doing that no more. We've progressed. King Kong Bundy and Andre Giant was legends, but we're not in that no more.
You hear that, Jim Cornette? We're moving on, Jim Cornette. Move on.
But
it's okay. You can still watch FTR. You'll be fine.
I like FTR. I think they're the better tag team between them and the Young Bucks.
We'll get there.
But Young Bucks and FTR are very different tag teams. Very, very, very different. They're not the same style. But just like Pat Patterson said, I forgot what I was going to say. Well, basically, like, when the times move on, you don't want to be stuck. Like, left in time, you got to move on.
Yeah.
Which some people are just, that's what they're hooked to.
By the way, I wasn't bad-mouthing Jim Cornette. I don't hate the guy. I just don't agree with some of his opinions on the business.
Yeah. And like I said, wrestling's got to change and evolve. And I think that's why a lot of people haven't came back to it. Because they're still stuck with the Monday Night War. And the thing is a lot of companies, mainly the other product, they don't want to have individual stars or individual like talent. You know, really, there's maybe a handful of people out there that you would say, oh, when you think wrestling now, you think, oh, like a John Cena, Stone Cold, The Rock. Like, you know, when people mention wrestling nowadays, they usually will bring up Roman Reigns.
He's the one. Yeah.
They'll bring up Brock Lesnar. They'll bring up Cena. They'll bring up CM Punk. They'll bring up occasionally Moxley.
I will say bring up a lot of the
Jericho.
Well, if you the Rampage demographic, like the younger demographic is growing, so like a lot of kids growing up today are gonna household names for them will be like Moxley, MJF,
Darby, hopefully.
So they got all these newer fans, and I seen a kid at I went to eat somewhere, and he still had an AEW shirt, and he was talking about Darby Allin. He's like 4 or 5 years old. He's talking about Darby Allin. So next 10, 20 years, you know, AEW guys will be household names. So
Yeah, that's what I hope for, because if you look at like people like Darby, MJF, they're very standout, like how Punk was, or how Jeff Hardy, or how like they have that specific, that specific thing that, oh my gosh, like this guy has cool face paint. What's this guy gonna do? Oh my gosh, like he just did a flip off the top rope into the, like he's laying in a coffin.
But I will say, if everyone's the same, it's not interesting.
No. I mean,
Well,
if everyone does the same generic wrestling moves in all the matches, you're watching the same match back to back to back.
I guess
It's as simple as that.
Yeah. There's only so many hip tosses I can take in a match. And drop toe hold.
Or arm drags. Which is funny though, because when you look at wrestling schools, like, and I watch videos of wrestling schools and everything, like, because I'm kind of interested in maybe getting my body in better shape and maybe going to a wrestling school. I don't know.
Let's do it.
I know there's a few here in Florida I would love to go check out and everything like that. Which side note, Team 3D actually has their school here in Florida.
I forgot they have the 3D Academy down there. I forgot about that.
That's yeah. So but if you watch these wrestling school tapes, they're teaching the same thing though. The basics, the tie up, the arm drag, the arm drag, and then like you said, a hip toss. They're running the ropes constantly. They're doing the running the ropes, the taking a bump, the simple stuff. And then eventually what you're watching is you're seeing people taking the littlest things from what they learned in wrestling school and kind of twisting it in their own way of what are my limitations in the ring? What moves can I do and what moves can I not do? That's why you don't see a lot of people doing like flips outside, because they don't feel comfortable. I've seen matches where people try to dive through the rope and they've never done it before, and they botch. They get their foot caught on the bottom rope, or they're too short, and now the other person has to save. Like it's bad. So it's be comfortable of what you can do in the ring. But like he says, you see the simplest things.
I think Dusty Rhodes is the best person that said, if you do not do anything you cannot do. Like, that's just setting up an embarrassment. You're like, sometimes the guys sell the move that they botched and makes the person that sells it look the most stupid, or the person that botched
Randy
it.
Orton.
Like, who was it? Jinder Mahal. I did that. But I will say, if you're interested in training, definitely be prepared for those ropes.
Yeah, no, I heard. Yeah.
It like for maybe 3-4 months, those ropes killed. Like you just like I just literally fell to the ground. Like it was so. But eventually, you get used to it. Like it just becomes nothing.
I just hope my height doesn't keep me back.
But it's very interesting because
Same.
like from watching, like I first said that, like I told him like, oh yeah, like I could do that. Getting there and doing it is a whole different. But it isn't easy and it isn't hard.
Yeah,
it's definitely a very cool experience. So, at least, and Florida has a lot of good places to train. So.
All right, I think we're moving to Connor, right, for his number 3.
Yeah, what's your number 3? I'm just a John Cena there for a second.
Number 3 for me was the Lucha Bros.
We are on the same page.
The Lucha Bros, they should have never lost titles that soon. I had them for 123 days. I thought they could have had a longer reign because it took them a while to get them. But I was expecting them to revisit the Santana and Ortiz and Lucha Bros feud in Impact, and Santana and Ortiz beat Lucha Bros, and then Jurassic Express beat Santana and Ortiz, but that was not the case. But Lucha Bros is my favorite tag team. Like outside of AEW, since I've known them since they were moved to Underground Impact. Those guys, especially Phoenix is the best high flyer in all of wrestling, probably, besides maybe Will Ospreay and a few others. But Phoenix is definitely one of a kind. And Pentagon, he's just as good. Very creative mind to his characters. What was the character that he played? It's kind of like a darker character. What was that called? And Alexander
Oh,
Hernandez came out with Paul Bearer stuff, kind of like.
Are you
I
talking
forget
about
the character's
Penta?
name. Yeah,
depending
Penta
on
Oscura.
Wesker. Yeah, Wesker.
He's a very creative person.
Oscura. Yeah, Oscura. I think it's dark. I think that's what it means in Spanish is dark is what Oscura means, because I took Spanish for a while and I think that's what it means in Spanish is dark. So Penta dark.
Yeah, and if they wanted to, Phoenix could become All Atlantic and Penta could become TNT. Like they're good enough to go singles or tag trios in this scenario, which they are now. But the Lucha Bros are, since day one, they've been one of the best tag teams in AEW. And I'm glad they're getting the push that they deserve with the trios, tag, constantly in feuds. Again, I've loved the Lucha Bros since before they were even in AEW. But this year, the Lucha Bros has done a lot with the House of Black, the Elite now, Jurassic Express. Yeah, that was the match that was at Phoenix. Hits him to his arm. But like blurred it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, and this year they added Alex Abrahantes to their group. It was very interesting. That I would never thought they would put someone like that, and it worked, but it's worked.
Penta says.
Yeah, that's what they should be doing with. Well, I'm not going to get into that. But anyways, the Lucha Bros are very great tag team this year. They put banger after banger match on. Yeah, I got the Lucha Bros at number 3.
Yeah, I'm gonna just kind of go briefly over it because my number 3 pick was the Lucha Bros as well. It's kind of interesting. Like me and Connor are on the same frequency apparently on a couple things tonight. So I liked, like I said, I liked everything that they've done this year. I wish, like I said, Connor said, like I wish they could have held the titles a little bit longer because it felt like their reign was still just kicking into the next gear when they lost it kind of abruptly. Like I said, they've had great matches as with just duos, trios. Crowd of course loves everything that they do, especially with especially Phoenix. Phoenix is just memorizing as soon as he does something in the ring. His flips, kicks, like he does a really good job about that. So I'm gonna have to say, like I said, they're my number 3. Connor touched on it perfectly, so I just want to add my few little 2 cents before we get on to our twos.
So I do want to
say
they
did a good job this year.
Go ahead, Connor.
I do want to say, please be cautious of what you comment. We're going to block 2 people tonight. I don't want to block anyone else, but please be cautious of what you comment and what you think's mature for whatever age you are. And yeah.
Oh no, and I was gonna piggyback off of you guys. Surprisingly, my top 2, neither one of them was the Lucha Bros. I just want to put it out there. They did make my top 10, but number 6. They barely cracked the top 5, and I want to touch upon it before I get to my number 2, if that's okay. I totally agree with you guys. I am a huge fan of the Lucha Bros. I like Connor said, I love them in Lucha Underground. I loved Penta, his build in Lucha. I mean, he was the Lucha Underground champion, I think, like twice or 3 times. I think Ray was a champion once there. But their dynamics were awesome in Lucha, and then they became the tag team. And I really think they had a great 2021. And like you said, yes, they should have held the title longer. However, the reason they're not in my top 5, and it's a crappy reason, but due to that injury to Ray Phoenix, it kind of put a damper on a lot of plans for them, I believe. I do feel like they probably could have won the titles back, but because Phoenix was shelved for a while, Penta had to go on his own. And then you get into the storyline of Penta having to do battle with the House of Black and then bringing Pac into it. And then once Ray came back, it then became that faction Death Triangle. So the Lucha Bros were kind of lost in that shuffle of being part of that Death Triangle House of Black feud. And now they're pretty much doing the same with them against, the Elite. But the Lucha Brothers are still there. They're still that team that I actually love watching. I've loved all their individual matches. Hell, that match between Dante and Ray Phoenix, I think it was during like an eliminator or something like that. But that singles match they had, holy cow, was it awesome. and
Yes.
Ray Phoenix did awesome. Dante Martin did awesome. And that's just good chemistry that Ray Phoenix has individually. And the same with Penta. Penta put on some bangers. I mean, think about it. Penta against John Moxley was a great match. It was a fantastic match. So that's all I'm going to say on the Lucha Bros. They didn't crack my top 5, but they're 6. But moving on to number 2, which may come as shocker to you guys, but number 2, Scissor Me Daddy-O, is the Acclaim.
Oh, dude, we are the same again.
Honestly, I mean,
crazy.
I mean, what else can we say about the Acclaim? Other than everybody loves the Acclaim. It's that
night
build. It's the natural getting over with the crowd, and that team did it. Here's another instance of 2 guys coming into a company and just pair it up with each other, and it worked. And it worked like to a benefit, because you watch them in their indie scene. They both wrestled independently. They never teamed in indies. They all did individual matches. But you bring them to AEW, and Tony's like, I'm putting you together because there's something about you guys. And it worked. When they started off as a heel team, guess what? They got booed, but guess what? The crowd reacted, booing them. And then they get over naturally because you paired them up with one of the most hated teams in the AEW, and that's the Guns. And then they kind of got over natural after that, and they kind of got that face turned away from the Guns because nobody likes the Guns. So it actually worked. It actually worked to turn them face. And then obviously pairing them with a legend like Billy Gunn, and then having the whole Scissor Me Daddy-O thing. Holy crap, like organically, just a great push. And now they're tag team champions, which I feel was a long time coming for them, because they've basically been there for since almost day one of AEW, and as a team, and them just firing on all cylinders. Anytime, like we said, injuries happen, both of them would go off individually and put on some good matches. They're both great in the ring. So yeah, I'd like to see who they feud with after this whole Jay Lethal and Slapnuts Jeff Jarrett debacle that's going on right now, because we all know neither one of those 2 are not going to take the titles from them. I will say, I like I said, I'm very intrigued, and honestly, I know we're over it, but I want to revisit the Guns versus the Acclaimed again, just because they're both in different they're both in different mindsets and like picture now, based off where they gone with their paths. You know what I mean? So now the Guns are not part of with their dad, and they did the Firm, and now they beat FTR. And then you got the Acclaim, who's the most over tag team right now in AEW, and honestly, may eventually took over all of wrestling. I'm waiting for that, even though I have much respect for the Usos because they are a good team as well. But again, the Acclaim just naturally get over.
With the Acclaim, like I said, they naturally get over every week. I don't think Max Caster has gone stale. I love the music videos they do with every big feud. The one they did with Jeff Jarrett last night was great. Of course, the one that they did, like I said, with Darby and Sting, that, like I said, it was everything just made sense with them. And good.
I was gonna say, you mentioned like the music videos. My favorite one was the Face of the Revolution 2021, when Max Caster with Kamala Harris and Joe Biden and Cody Rhodes. That's my favorite one.
Like he's like I said, like they're both very talented in their own ways, and just for them to randomly get put together. They didn't know each other beforehand. For them to randomly get put together and to see the relationship they have as like tag team and just as brothers in the ring, everything is great. Everybody loves the Acclaimed. Everybody loves the Acclaimed. For me, that's why they're number 2. Like they really took, every shot this year. And when they lost the first opportunity to have the tag belts, I think Tony was testing them to see how the crowd would react with that, that win. And then finally to see them win it and that pop they had, I'm so glad they won it. And I'm hoping they have a good reign. I think they're probably going to, if they naturally lose it, to FTR, which I think is the direction they're probably going to go. I'm hoping, cross my fingers. But I think coming March, I think they'll go up against FTR and probably lose the belts then. But I think it'd be a good, solid reign where They got brought up as a good team. They're always better in the chase. They're one of those kind of faces right now. They're better in that chase to get back to that belt. So yeah, the Acclaim is number 2 for me. Me and Adam are on the same page again. So Adam, scissor me, Daddy Adam.
Hey, Adam.
You're up on this corner. Sorry.
Oh, all right, yeah. But yeah, so that's our number 2s. Let's see. Ethan asked. Sorry.
I've thought about that too. I don't think a lot of people who signed at AEW now would have not got signed because the direction they were going was Brody Lee and Matt Hardy was going to be signed because it was supposed to debut in the same place. But Lee Johnson, Eddie Kingston, Nick Camarada, Aaron Solo. Let's can go on and on.
Yeah.
But maybe in a sense that was a good thing. When it's not a good thing the pandemic happened. No, it is not. I wish it would never happen. But it is some good things did come out of it. We never would have got a Stadium Stampede match, that's for sure. And they were there since 2020. I believe after Double or Nothing, 2020.
Nothing. 2020.
Yeah.
But it launched in 2019. So they basically came maybe a few months or a year after it was launched.
Yeah.
I think they
were brand new to, and they literally been there since literally a homegrown tag team.
I think it was I remember seeing them together they were there as singles first. Double or Nothing after Double or Nothing 2020. First it was Max Caster and Anthony Bowen singles, and then I believe right before 4 weeks after Double or Nothing 2020, they put them together. They did this rap and no one was on board with it, but they kept on and on and on. Tony knew what he was doing. Tony's not dumb as people think he is. He put those two together that was his idea. They were never a tag team before AEW, and they've gelled very, very good together. They're much deserved tag team champions.
Very true. All right, Connor, what's your number 2?
Who is my number 2? I know who they are. I know. My number 2 was Jurassic Express.
Oh, okay, interesting.
I feel like their run was it was once I thought they were gonna have to toss till the end of the year. They won the it's supposed to be the Hardys, and but what happened, and I thought they were never gonna lose them. They I have the tag team title defenses. See.
Yeah, it's
Here they are, right? Yeah, they went against the Dark Order, Private Party, Gun Club, Young Bucks, and Red Dragon. The Acclaim, Red Dragon, Starks and Hobbs versus Keith Lee and Swerved. Young Bucks, Hobbs and Starks and Swerved. At least not. Was that
at least 10 title defenses?
That's at least 10. Yeah.
And all those matches were great matches, like the Revolution match. Yeah. They're both matches against Hobbs and I think they overdid that the third time they did it, but each match was great. Every match brought something different, and mostly all the title defenses were on Rampage, believe it or not. But I thought they were going to close the years as champion. I didn't think they was going to lose them.
Plot twist.
Because Swerve and them beat them, didn't they? Yeah, Swerve. But Jurassic Express, I think they'll get back together one day. But they've put on a heck of a year this year. From when they were together this year, they had a heck of a year. They were mainly tag champions this entire year. I guess for half of the year they were. But Swerve and them didn't win them until right before round 4, almost all out. And Jungle Boy, I believe he's going to be a great single star. Luchasaurus is going to be too, I think. So singles tag. I got Jurassic Express as number 2.
And
All
and
right.
I kind of like that storytelling too. Of they lost the tag titles to the Young Bucks, but it's that long storytelling that Tony Khan likes. Of hey, remember when Christian was eliminated by Jungle Boy in the Battle Royal the
Yeah.
year before? Let's pair them up and have him as the mentor of both of them, and kind of from the inside get his revenge. So I mean, I honestly thought that was great long term storytelling.
Been AEW fans since day one, 2019, of how the promotion has grown in 4 years, probably about. Well, great to well, thank you for watching for one
Welcome.
thing.
Yeah,
First time
welcome.
here, and have we all been fans of AEW since day one here, 2019?
Since they
Yeah.
Yeah, same with me. I'm a fan 20. I say this every time. January 1st, 2019, 12 a.m. when they announced it on BTE. But yeah, thanks for watching. In 11 years, it brought me back to the U.S. professional wrestling after 11 years away. Wow.
that's awesome.
So I kind of to answer that your question of since day one, I didn't really get back into wrestling in AEW until maybe towards the end of year one of AEW. Basically, I think it was the the main where John Moxley debuted. I think that's where I got really into it because I was a big Mox fan. And
So
that was what was that? Was that Double or Nothing?
the first show.
Yeah,
Yep,
so
the
it was
first
Double or
pay-per-view.
Nothing. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it was Double. It was a Double or All or Nothing or whatever it was. It was Double or Nothing.
2019.
Yeah, so
Double or Nothing.
their first pay per view, like when I saw that John Moxley debuted in AEW, I'm like, okay, now they have John Moxley, Chris Jericho. They've got Kenny Omega. They've got all these stars from all these promotions. I have to watch this promotion, and like the viewer just said, like, yeah, like I probably stopped watching pro wrestling in 2014, 2015. Like I stopped. Like I was just like, I can't do it anymore. The product's stale. I try to find alternatives with Impact, and even, Lucha. I turned into Lucha Underground and started watching Lucha Underground. That kind of kept me at my pace with pro wrestling. So, but yeah, no, when AEW launched, it was probably Double or Nothing is when I finally looked at that product and said, I have to watch this promotion. I really do.
Yeah. I like I said, for me, like once Cody left WWE, I followed him over to the independent scene, watched a lot of his matches in New Japan. So to have, like I said, to have Cody like introduce me to the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, like I kind of heard the stories of Bullet Club, and I was always seeing that black and white T-shirt, and then just became a fan of just the independent style, and with the independent style, like that's why I love AEW. It has a lot of the great moments, matches that I liked in New Japan, and with some of the TNA matches and just stuff. Even in England, there was some really cool stuff happening over in Britain, where you'll see like matches like with Cody, Drew McIntyre, Drew Galloway, like Kurt Angle. Like they had a lot of this like great moments over there. And when they announced AEW, it just took off, and I'm glad I was hoping it'd be a lot further along, but hopefully soon we'll get back to
AEW Dynamite Rio versus Nyla for the inaugural AEW Women's title sold me. It's an overlooked match in AEW history. It's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite women's matches, along with Rosa and Britt Lights Out match. Yeah, that. I think that put the women's division to a whole nother level after the Lights Out match, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
I think the hard part with the Rio and Nyla match was a lot of people dogged on Rio just because of her size.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to make the belt like custom size for her, because she's like her holding the title. Like she's really small. I thought I was going to be the custom. Normally WWE does that, but they kept the title the way it was. But I like Rio. I think she's also a little bit more weight now than when 2019.
Yeah.
But I like Rio. Yeah.
I just wish she'd be able to be in the States more.
You pair her up with for sure.
They can't ever. Everyone wants them to use them, but they can't use them if you keep on going back and forth. It's hard to use anyone.
True.
So.
That's why Archer, Rio, Zakazaki.
Lance Archer will be back in January. It's next coming month. He'll be back.
Mm-hmm.
If he don't go back again.
Right. All
That's not
right.
AEW's
So
problem.
let me ask you this: are we all in agreement about FTR being the #1 tag team of the year?
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
Do
the
you guys
most
want me to start
dominant
with?
tag team.
Yeah.
Do you
not
guys
at
want me to
all.
start with my some of my points? Listen,
Yes,
holding
please.
3 titles in 3 different promotions, you're bound to be the best tag team of the year. And basically even going to all these promotions, being able to do that, the freedom that they had, with Tony being like, hey, you got 3 titles in 3 different promotions, go promote them because you guys are literally workers. I mean, Dax Hardwood has had some of the best individual matches I've ever seen on TV. And I'm telling you right now, meeting those guys in person a while ago, back when they were, in the other company, and they were in town in Chicago, and I met them and said, "Oh my God, huge fan of you guys. I think you guys are probably one of the coolest tag teams I've ever seen." That was back when they were known as the Revival. But I'm like, dude, I love your guys' tag team style. I love it. It's hard hitting. It's power. It's great. It's old school tag team that I love. And they told me, they said, well, I appreciate that. And I got a picture with them, and I don't know where that picture is. But yeah, I knew I was like, if these guys ever leave this company, they're going to be okay because they're going to win tag team gold somewhere, and honestly, the feud they had with the Briscoes, holy cow. I don't know if it gets any better than that kind of style when you've got not one but 2 banger matches with the same teams. That 2 out of 3 falls, or all 3. I mean, the first one was great, but that 2 out of 3 falls one was tremendously a big step up. And honestly, that dog collar match, I had to go back and rewatch it before I had to make this list. Well, not before I made this list, but just to go back, just because I made the list. And I'm like, okay, I want to go watch that match again because I love FTR. But yeah, no, a team like that, and we talk about it that we hope they win tag team gold. In my honest opinion, I think they've done enough. And I've heard that Dax wants some lighter schedules just so he can spend time with his daughter. He loves that girl to death, and he wants to see more of her. We got to remember, these are human beings. They want their lives. They want to have their own lives too outside of the business, and they understand that. And I would be okay if they took some time off from AEW, did a lighter schedule. They got spent more time for family, and then once they got that rest and that lighter schedule and that time, let's bring them back. Let's bring them back. Let's shoot them to the moon. Let's get them those AEW tag titles again, before they finally go, all right, we're done. So honestly, there's no argument that FTR had probably the best year as a tag team in all of pro wrestling.
And to think of it, like, a lot of it wasn't even in AEW.
Mm-mm.
Nearly any of it was in AEW. Like, sometimes in AEW, the hype isn't like how big the wrestlers are isn't always, they don't match it up with their push. Sometimes in AEW. Yeah, that's I want to point out this comment. FTR had ties in AAA and New Japan Pro Wrestling, 2 promotions who can't politically work with each other. That's history.
Yeah.
That's definitely,
I mean, it's true.
That's saying a lot.
I mean, it's true, but it's 2 promotions that are just like, you know what? We got a team that has both these titles. We're okay because they put the work in. They understand that they're workers and that they have commitments to other places. If that's how it is, you just got to let them go because they have commitments to that. You can't deny someone that. It's kind of like saying, if someone's thirsty and they need water, and technically water is free. You can't be like, nah, you can't have water. Like, you can't do that. It's just like these guys are going to work, and they do great work in all of the promotions they're in, no matter where they are. So that's why I said, like, I don't mind if they take some time off and do some lighter schedule work. They've earned it for the year that they had.
They've probably made more money than any other tag team this year. Like I said, they've done it all, man. Like, one of the nicest teams I've met too, because I met them. They were like one of the first wrestlers I ever had the chance to meet, and they were very cool. They're awesome to everybody in line, to my fiance. They had that energy about them, and then to go in and watch them lose the titles to the Briscoes here at the pay-per-view. I'm gonna plug a little quick. If you haven't watched our vlog yet for Final Battle, go watch that because I documented that match the best I could with where I was sitting, and just being in that crowd, people were behind that whole match. Those guys gave a lot to this business this year. They took a lot of hits. When I saw them at Dynamite, because they were doing the meet and greet at Dynamite that following week, like they looked like they had just gone through a battle. Those guys put a lot of time and effort into not just wrestling and on their bodies, but look what they did with the Acclaimed. They brought the Acclaimed up to their level. Okay, the Acclaimed was already a great team, but they just brought it up even further. So for them to do that and not be selfish like a lot of teams or people in the business are, like, you gotta have a lot of respect for them for that reason. Kind of throwing kayfabe a little bit out the window on that one. And like I said, even their match with the Guns, like, I'm wanting to see something that comes out of that. Like, I want to see if they'll build on that. They're still being heavily shown and pushed, even with all the rumors going on. And I saw somebody in the comment section mention, would CM Punk would he still come back? Yep, Ethan mentioned it. Would CM Punk still come back if FTR isn't there? With what it sounds like on Twitter, because in our group chat, I shared the post. Dax even said, "Hey, I want us to sit down, make things up with the Elite, and we shake hands, make money." And Punk put ditto. So it doesn't sound like Punk's out of there. And I think FTR, I think they'll take a little bit of a break. Both groups heal up and then come back and just make money and just have
Dax Harwood's gonna make it happen. And he comes back. Dax Harwood's gonna do it. Everyone's crapping on Dax Harwood right now for some of the stuff he says,
but he's the middleman because he understands the business. He understands this is going to make money. If it's going to make us money, it's going to make the company money. It's going to be good for everybody. And I guarantee you, majority, 99.9% of the fans want it. Like we talk about it with ratings. I mean, ratings They skyrocket with Punk. I mean, it's the simplest thing. I'm still indifferent about Punk, but you know what? If he comes back and him and the Elite can make amends, and it's all because of Dax,
imagine the numbers.
So be it. I will allow that.
Because everybody wants to see
I've got goosebumps thinking about it now.
Same.
Yes.
But that's just the power that FTR has in the wrestling business. They went from shaving each other's backs and losing the titles of Hawkins and Ryder to the best tag team champions in any promotion this year. Like, I was so upset when they lost to the Usos, but then again, I think it's all opinion based with the PWI charts. But they had a better year than the Usos. Like, the Usos had a lot of victories and they had a lot of matches, which is fine. But when they're just all house show matches that don't make sense, dude, look at what FTR did. They've won so much gold this year. They won so many matches. They've had a lot of great feuds, and they put over talent. Have you seen the Usos put over a new tag team?
Only New Day.
Profits was the last one I saw.
Just New Day. The storyline with New Day was pretty much it.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Maybe they can.
So I'm going to kind of disagree with Max here. I don't think the tag division is dead. I just think it's a little stale at the point right now. I don't think it's completely dead. I don't think so. You got more focus on trios right now than you got tag team, which is the big issue. Where you got more of a trios kind of picture going on in AEW than you do a tag team. And I don't think if they leave, it's going to be dead. It's just going to be a little more step below trios. I believe the trios, because you got to remember the trios titles are brand new. And they want to put those on screen as much as possible. Everybody's familiar. Oh, the AEW tag titles. They know it's there. But with the trios, they want to put more focus on it. And so that's why I don't think it's dead. It's just stale right now, just below the trios titles.
I would say if FTR is done, they need Santana and Ortiz. But they don't have a choice. Like, besides the Acclaimed and the Gun Club, I can't think of anyone.
The Bucks, best friends, but they're
all
the
Bucks, really best friends. I mean,
we'll see. Like, a lot of them are in trios. That's one thing
But that's the thing. You need to break them off and have them do some tag stuff.
The brand split. Well, never mind. That's something we have in the works. That's what they need. We'll separate a brand can focus on trios, another brand can focus on tag teams. You can focus on all the titles. But I think FTR is going to stay. They're going to sign new contracts, but they'll maybe they won't be
They
on
might
for a
take,
while.
yeah, but they're going to take a lot of your schedule, maybe too. I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
they
think
got to.
I think they're staying. But that doesn't mean they're
Well,
going
if
to
you
be
look at it
full-time.
too, then because why would if you were having somebody at risk of leaving, why would you put them on the brand new match graphics and the new announcement? New look coming 2023. So
Exactly.
and plus,
I
yeah,
don't
like a
think
lot of people are
Tony's-
saying that like they want them back in WWE. Like, well, yeah, you
No.
want them back in WWE, but they're gonna drop the
against
ball
who?
with them.
To go against
They're
who?
going to get
need
buried.
to
They're going to
see
get buried there.
Who they're going to go
And the
against?
thing
The
is, yeah.
Usos. I mean, that's
Well,
it.
and FTR, they can come in and they could, like I said, they have teams that they could elevate in AEW or work with and have great bangers because they have not had a terrible match yet. They do not botch. I have not seen a botch match in any of their moments or matches they've had. So, like I said, they got to break out the checkbook, Tony. Just keep them happy. Give them
What
a
is
good
this?
schedule.
I heard about this, but why is CMLL and AAA hate each other? 30-year blood feud. Been what
So
happened?
I don't know.
So I'm pretty sure. So I love watching documentaries about wrestling promotions. I mean, obviously, I'm sure all of us love watching Dark Side of the Ring and all that stuff. From my understanding, there was a bad booking decision between both companies,
Ooh.
and I think it hurt one of them financially. So they both. It could be also. I think there's a lot of back locker room hostility between
Backstabbing.
pretty much behind the scenes. But I feel like that's almost every promotion. I mean, but yeah, with FTR, I want to go back to FTR moving to WWE. They'll just get buried. I mean, you look at something like the one thing I worry about is Dragon Lee. Dragon Lee is now signing with WWE. And apparently news is he's going straight to NXT.
I kind of seen
It's
that
like
comment.
it's like listen,
Yeah.
this guy's huge internationally, and you're sending him to your C-list show.
Oh, but
You're
Triple
burying
H
him.
Triple H was determined to beat AEW when it was on Tuesdays, but
I mean, if that's
But then he says they beat our developmental brand.
Okay, I see what. Yeah, the bottom one, the newest one. Yeah. See, I knew it was something that had to do about like backstage stuff, like backstabbing kind of work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, that's a 1992. Is this guy still over AAA or like? Isn't Conan over AAA or?
Conan, I don't know if Conan's over AAA. He may be an executive over there. I don't know if he oversees everything, but he may be like a COO or something like over in that promotion.
Oh, what the hell froze over?
Cool. Hey,
but thanks for watching. Yeah,
appreciate you watching and actually
a lot of stuff,
teaching us. That's awesome.
Yeah, I was about to say a lot of stuff.
Teach us more.
Yeah,
because these are two promotions I got to get into watching, and they actually mentioned it in the comment above about the pay-per-view they had, the same pay-per-view that Dragon Lee said he was signed WWE, and then FTR lost the titles. And oh my god, okay, so I've watched highlights of Vikingo. Oh my god, can that guy fly? Man, is he a flyer? He is a big flyer, and he's so good.
Like everyone's saying him and Kenny Omega, but I want to see him in Phoenix the most.
Yes.
I mean, Kenny Omega and Vikingo, I mean, I honestly think Vikingo on another level is, I mean, that guy can, because I watch a lot of like YouTube videos of like, oh my God moments in pro wrestling, and they show a lot of Vikingo.
I hope they do that on a dark elevation of a sensitive on TV. Or a good Rampage.
Yeah,
be good.
Rampage is growing the ratings back.
Welcome, Mr. Jacobs. You guys are doing awesome on the show tonight, so I couldn't make it. Thursdays are usually pretty busy for me. See you all tomorrow night. Subscribe and hit the like button. Well, thanks for watching.
Appreciate it,
Mr. Jacobs.
We love you, miss you, man.
Yeah, buddy, miss ya.
I'm gonna try to do the Excalibur thing with this one comment. See if I can. Did you guys see? I messed up. Did you guys watch the AAA pay-per-view last night on Fight? Benico versus Bandito with the Fire main event. Looks like we're getting Bandido versus King Omega for Triple A. I can't do it. For a Triple A Mega title and a title Kenny never lost.
Are you trying to all say it in under 10 seconds?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do. I can't do it.
And we'll see you picture.
Bandito goes to AEW and gets a premature main event. Dragon Lee gets a name. See, that's
man.
you gotta go. You gotta go really quick. You gotta go. Bandito goes to AEW and gets a primetime main event versus Jericho. Dragon Lee gets a name change instead their third straight show. That's a big reason why I left Stanford, as they treat Mexicans like crap.
That was great.
That was pretty good. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
That was really good. Yeah. But that's not. But
I
that was
saw that. I saw his inverted 630.
630.
Oh my god,
What?
it's insane.
Is that a thing?
Yes, it's insane.
I'm gonna have to go watch that since we got off the air, because I'm not gonna lie, I have not seen any of his matches or moments.
Oh, dude, you have to watch some of his matches, man. Quick question for Coog 97. Was he the one who introduced his new from the top rope 630 into a Frankensteiner last night? That's what I saw online. Because that is insane. Literally from the top rope, like a 360 or 630 on the shoulders, and then a Frankensteiner. It was insane. It was insane.
I'm gonna watch it then. So cool. The Coog, if you have any recommendations, on my Twitter, tweet me at Taz the Major Mark, and if you have any cool like moments that you want to like send to me, I'll watch them and see if I see if I'll be blown away or if I'll just blow a head gasket with how cool that is.
So yes, cool. He did. He just commented. He did do it. Oh, I watched the video. I watched the video of it. It was ridiculous.
Wow. You're teaching us a lot of stuff tonight. Yeah.
Thanks for watching. You guys are like really good crowd tonight. I love it. Love it. Is that real wrestling?
I'm legit.
No way.
Is a wrestler.
Oh my god.
I'm looking this up right now.
Where is he?
Oh my god. Okay, we gotta look him up right now. What is the name? Ding Dong Dick. Ding Dong Dick. Hold on.
I hope that I don't know if you're joshing us or if he's a real wrestler.
I don't know.
Ding Dong.
Oh, it's Dick Murdoch.
Big.
Is it Dick Murdoch?
Did.
That's like came up.
Hold on,
Dick Murdoch and Joey Ryan are the only two that came up.
Ding.
So interesting. Okay.
Yeah, Dick Murdoch. That's the name that came up.
Ding dong. Or no, this is
no
wrestler you're talking about.
No, but he passed away, and this guy's 96.
Oh,
I don't know if he's mentioned someone from 96 who wrestled for WWF and New Japan. He went by the name of Dirty Dick Murdoch and Captain Redneck.
Nice. Well, thank you.
Hold on.
We thought you were like pulling a prank on us.
No, he was so this guy was an NWA United National Champion in All Japan.
So what's his name, like Ding Dong Dick, or what? Like, what is this? Is it like Dick Murdoch, or who is this?
I mean, he was ranked number 96 of top 500 single wrestlers in the year 2003.
Wow.
Cool.
And he was dead for 10 years from that.
I don't know how we'd come back.
That's incredible.
Well, he died in 96 at 49, but
he's not coming to AEW. Unless he has a son.
He might.
Ding Dong Dick Jr.
Maybe. Doesn't say anything, but
yeah, I've seen that match. That was a really good match.
I'm gonna look up. Yeah, I love Josh Alexander. He's one of my favorite wrestlers. He's had another great year too. We could do a whole podcast on Josh, on Josh alone. We're not the Impact Zone podcast, but we'll. He's definitely been a good wrestler.
I think guys. I think he would be one of the coolest people to have on for an interview. By the way, Connor, I like Josh Alexander. Yeah, I wish we could.
Yeah,
him
or Speedball Mike Bailey.
Yeah.
Wait, are you for real?
I don't know about that.
I don't think that's right because Effie
I don't know if that's right.
We're not interested.
Are you talking about another? Are you talking about another Iffy or like?
There's only one Effie. So Give me one second, guys.
I don't know. Let's see.
Curious. Because Effie, like, I don't know why. I've been a very big fan of Effie this year. I don't know why, but he's been a very good, standout, like, fun wrestler that he would not work on a main TV show, but I'd love to see him in AEW for like a brief like match.
Wish you guys would like to see the territory days in the U.S. early '80s world class Georgia, Houston, South, Mid South. AWA Mid South. I actually live in Memphis, Tennessee. I wasn't able to witness some of that, but like I can see Jay Lawler any day, and it's no joke. I can go to this bar and go and see him right now if I want to, probably. And like he has these Memphis wrestling DVDs for sale, and I bought a bunch of them. I've seen like Hulk Hogan start out here, Randy Savage, but territory days. That's all the experience I.
Yeah,
I mean, I'd have to go back and watch like the Tales from the Territory documentary because they got a lot of stories about these kind of all these territories back in the 80s.
From the like AWA, I've seen Shawn Michaels and Margin A team up. I don't know when I've seen it, I just remember seeing it. Mid Atlantic.
All right. So let me ask. Well, what's as we wind down, we're gonna do a little Spitfire round. Normally, we would do our favorite wrestler of the week, but since we're heading into 2023, I want to do our 3 predictions that could happen for this next calendar year. So, who wants to go first?
3 predictions for the new year.
3 predictions.
Number 1 for me is CM Punk coming back at January 11th. That's probably not going to happen. It's a prediction. The Elite beat the Death Triangle after the match. FTR walk out. They just stand there for a few minutes in silence. Then you're CM Punk. Let me get that stare down. Number 2 is Jungle Boy defeating Samoa Joe for the TNT title. Number 3, Statlander becoming TBS champion.
I like it.
Okay. I've got pretty much a similar prediction to Connor that I'd like to see, and that's Chris Statlander winning the TBS title when she comes back when she's healthy. Honestly, I think she might be the only person they're holding up for to take that title and make it prestige and everything. Prediction number 2, I am hoping that it's a tough one because I have so many ideas and predictions I want for AEW next year. Prediction number 2, I actually want Adam Cole to come back and have a good feud with somebody. I mean, anybody, and just have some good solid matches because I miss Adam Cole. And number 3 prediction is, again, I might have to go with Connor here. I do want to see CM Punk and FTR wrestle the Elite. I think it's a money grabber right there. I think it would be a banger of a match. So I think it's what everybody wants to see.
I really think Dax Harwood's going to get CM Punk back there. He's going to do it because clear from his interview, him and CM Punk are probably the tightest people in AEW. Like backstage wise, him and FTR are the like. Look, I definitely recommend going and watch the was it FTR with Dax Harwood podcast. His first episode was on CM Punk, and you can see the whole thing.
And honestly, I'd love to see Jungle Boy win a title. I don't know if it's going to be the TNT title. I can see him winning maybe the Ring of Honor television title.
I like it. For me, so my first prediction, I'm going to have Jungle Boy win his first like singles championship this year. I kind of agree with you on that one. I think that's kind of a direction they'll probably go with. My second prediction is same thing with Preston Vance. I think Preston Vance is going to break away from his trios team that he's currently in. I think he'll be a standout star by the end of the year. And my number 3 prediction, I think my number 3 prediction will be Rampage will become 2 hours and we move to a different night.
Split.
Mhm.
That's what I
And
hope.
if I want to do,
It'd be interesting with Rampage being a different night. So
I believe if they did a brand split, Rampage would get sky high numbers because you get. Well, I don't know. Well, it goes off my. I might not, should not say this because Lane's listening, but well, the next year, I assume we get into free agent signing. He's going to be my free agent signing.
the thing is, so I'm just gonna plug real quick our YouTube channel. Connor and I this week we have recorded. It's not out yet because we have some other projects we're putting out, but we are doing a similar thing to our Booking Elite show that we are going to be doing very soon as well. We are now GMs, both Dynamite and Rampage. So it's going to be kind of a fun head-to-head competition. We did our draft, so that should be coming up very soon. We are currently booking our lead up to our first TV special, which will be Beach Break. We're going to do that instead of, Battle of the Belts 25. So we have that coming out. It's going to be fun to see how our minds are going to work. So we've kind of dropped a little bit of hints in there of who's on our roster. But with what we have planned, it's going to be a fun show. It's going to be a cool thing we're going to add to our YouTube channel. Go subscribe now or subscribe down below if you haven't already, because we have vlogs that are put up now with both Connor's pay-per-view experience at Full Gear. We have both my Winter is Coming vlog and Final Battle as well. We have a card break coming out soon. We have some other projects that Connor has been working with our whole team. So we have that course happening as well. Talking Elite every Thursday. We also have our watch-alongs Wednesdays and Fridays for both Dynamite and Rampage. So for those of you guys that just joined us tonight, please come back out for our live stream. We have, of course, a bigger cast as well, besides us three, that we do a lot of great job with talking, discussing.
Nate Bobwinkle was AWA champion.
Bobwinkle, oh, good Lord. Bob Backlund, good Lord.
Nate Bobwinkle.
No, you're not old. You're what's it called? You're cultured in professional wrestling. That's what we call it. You're cultured.
So, crown first Mexican-born AEW champion. Ooh, that'd be a cool prediction.
I don't know if he'll be a world champion, but he may be the Mid-Atlantic. All Atlantic. Sorry, I keep saying mid. All Atlantic. So
we're not gonna. You have to watch and see who our first picks were. I'm not gonna say anything because if we say it now, you're not gonna go watch the video.
But it was it was very interesting because some of our picks, like, we had some people left towards the end that probably shouldn't have been left. We also have visions for a lot of different wrestlers and different themes. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And like I said, we're just growing and doing a lot of different fun projects. So yeah, love it. Connor is a genius when it comes to things. And I'm kind of regretting a couple of my picks, and maybe we'll have some trades going on. But other than that, like I said,
I will say I tried to trade with my sucky guys for. It was near the end, and I didn't ever really have a choice because he picked the one guy and I had to pick the other. I tried to trade with my guys for a mid Carter, and my first trade got turned down. So we'll see.
So yeah, like I said, so it was a lot of fun. Like I said, Connor, there's a lot of editing that's gonna be going with that one. So like I said, Connor's been working his ass off, getting these different things out for us. So appreciate you, Connor. I said it every week, but thank you for being our producer. That's going to do it for Talking Elite. So make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscribe. Thank you, Coog, again for joining us. I'm glad that you liked our show and think that we're cultured. We love you as well, brother. And hopefully we'll see you again next week. See you on all of our shows. Go follow us on YouTube on YouTube, hit subscribe. Follow us on Twitter at All Elite Zone 1. Follow us on Spotify, and follow us on Podvine or Podbean that we do now.
I guess Podbean. It's one of the two. That's what called. Go
Go check us out on Podvine and Podbean. Like I said, we have a lot of new shows coming out, and can't wait for us to keep growing. We're almost at 300 subscribers, so keep liking, sharing, try to get your friends to watch as well. We have guests that come on constantly. Connor has got some good, fun guests in the work. So stick to our social medias for us to announce those guests coming up, because we got some really cool names coming. So thank you guys so much for watching. Anything else you guys want to add before we go off the air?
I met Bob Akron 2004 Burger King.
Nice. Was he the king?
Nice.
No. Thank you guys for watching. Honestly, this is probably the best experience I've had since joining this team at the All Elite Zone and everything like that. And I love doing these podcasts with you guys. So
Awesome.
Yeah, I will say with the guest, 2022 we had 2023 is going to be a up-notch year, but the guys, people that we had this year, we had Sabu, we had Matt Taven, we had Buddy Matthews, we had Alex Shelley. I'm missing a few. We had a very good list of people, and I'm still working on Ken Shamrock being on here. That will happen. Just not sure when.
Yeah. So, all right, y'all. Well, have a great night, and we'll see you guys tomorrow at Rampage. Take care, y'all. We'll see you soon.